जी. So 6 questions. We'll do a quick revision. This is how I try to remember. जैसे कोई लड़का हीरो मतलब एक लवर दूसरे लवर को बोलता है कि आई विल बी यूअर, तो मी बी यूअर, तो यूअर का स्पेलिंग थोड़ा सा अलग है, बट दिस इज हाउ प्रॉब्ली वी कैन ट्राई टू रिमेम्बर. तो MEBUIR. तो एम मतलब क्या? मैनकाइंड. मैनकाइंड के लिए क्या बेनिफिट है वो वाला पूछा था. ई क्या होता है? एसेंस. सब स्क्रिप्चर का एसेंस क्या है? बी मतलब बर्थ. कृष्णा का बर्थ क्यों हुआ था, क्या रीजन के लिए हुआ था. देन वी हैव यू. यू मीन्स यूनिवर्स, तो यूनिवर्स का क्रिएशन, मेंटेनेंस, डिस्ट्रक्शन के बारे में. आई स्टैंड्स फॉर इनकारनेशन. सो व्हाट ऑल डिफरेंट इनकारनेशंस, क्या पर्पसेस थे एंड ऑल. एंड आर इज रिलीजन. तो सब खत्म होने के बाद रिलीजन, जब कृष्णा अपने धाम चले गए थे, देन व्हाट हैपेंड टू द रिलीजन, वेयर डिड ही टेक इट शेल्टर. So this is how I try to remember. So if that helps you, you can also probably try to remember that me be your karke. So this will help us remember the 6 questions by the sages, because this is the ये 6 questions ही है. These are the questions which actually then laid the foundation for the Bhagavatam, which Vyasdev mentioned in this. He noted it down. Yeah. We will now start to the third chapter. Okay. So Richa, we will. I think Monica Matthew आ जाएंगे. Then probably by the end of this chapter we will do the quiz for the last chapter. ठीक है रिचा? तो थोड़े और लोग आएंगे पार्टिसिपेंट्स, तो रिवीजन हो जाएगा उनका.
Yes, yes.
ओके. हरे कृष्णा कमल प्रभु.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
हरे कृष्णा. So third chapter is about Krishna is the source of all incarnations. So this chapter would have 5 sections if we divide the slokas. The first speaks about the Purusha Avtaras. Second speaks about 22 incarnations of the Lord. Many people just, their knowledge is just limited to the 10 incarnation, but those are 10 popular incarnations. They are not the ऐसे कुछ primary incarnations or nothing of that sort. They are just the top popular incarnations which people know through basically some movies, or uske through people they get to know about this 10 incarnations. But here we'll speak about 22 incarnations, and then after 22 incarnations, Vyasdev mentions about how many actual incarnations are there of the Lord. So we'll see about it. And then next 2 slokas, they basically say that, declare that Krishna is the fountainhead of all these innumerable incarnations. Then the next 10 verses, 9 or 10 verses, they talk about the Virat Rupa. Virat Rupa means it is everywhere in this material universe. So Virat Rupa of the material universe. So this is, which is basically imaginary. Why? We will see during that section. And how do we get free from it? By doing Krishna Katha. And the last section of 5 verses would be Srimad Bhagavatam is basically the literary incarnation of Krishna. So Krishna can incarnate in any form, any type. So Srimad Bhagavatam is called a literary incarnation of Lord Krishna. So we'll start. Okay. Kamal Prabhu, do you want to go with the first para maybe?
Yes, Prabhu. Sutta said, in the beginning of the creation, the Lord first expanded himself in the universal form of Purush incarnation and manifested all the ingredients for the material creation. And thus, at first, there was the creation of the 16th principle of material action. This was for the purpose of creating a material universe. A part of the Purush lies down within the water of the universe. From the navel lake of his body sprouts a lotus stem, and from the lotus flower atop the stem, Brahma, the master of all engineers in the universal forms, becomes manifest. It is believed that all the universal planetary systems are situated on the extensor body of the Purusha, but he has nothing to do with the created material ingredients. His body is eternally in spiritual existence par excellence. The devotee with their perfect eyes see the transcendental form of Purusha who has thousands of legs, thighs, arms, and faces all extraordinarily. In that body there are thousands of heads, ears, eyes, and noses. They are decorated with thousands of helmets and glowing earrings and are adorned with garlands. This form, the second manifestation of the Purusha, is the source of indestructible seed of multifarious incarnations within the universe. From the particles and portions of this form, different living entities like demigods, men, and others are created. First of all, in the beginning of
वो यहाँ पे एक
creation,
मिनट के लिए ब्रेक लेते हैं and then we'll again
yes,
continue. So यहाँ पे so here what here these first 5 slokas they are speaking about the Purusha Avtaras. Anyone recollects what are Purusha Avtaras? What are the Purusha Avtaras of Krishna? Anyone? Mamta Mataji, Rohit, Richa. No idea.
Prabhu, are you talking about that Dashavatar, like
No,
board,
Purusha Avatar. Purusha Avatar.
board incarnation?
No. Purusha Avatar Mataji.
अच्छा, नहीं पता प्रभु.
Shirodaksha Vishnu.
Yes, Hari bol. And
गर्भोदक्ष
Garbhodaksha और और कौन सा था?
Mahavishnu.
महाविष्णु. कारण दक्ष है महाविष्णु. हरि बोल. जय जय. Thanks Richa. Thanks Mamta Mataji. So if you see here, this may be not very clear. लेकिन यहाँ पे if you see, we have Mahavishnu at the very top, Karana ocean. So Karana means this is the cause, it causes something. So Karana of what? Material universes. So he is lying there over there, Mahavishnu or Karana Daksha Vishnu. And from his pores, this oceans like the eggshell, golden eggshell, they come out from his pores. And then he expands. That is the first Purusha avatar. That is Karanaksha. And that is Purusha avatars here are basically only for material creation, maintenance, and destruction. That's all. So here he then expands into Garbhodaksha Vishnu. So Garbhodaksha Vishnu is the Vishnu who is lying at the very bottom of this image. So in the Sheshnag, he's lying on the bed of Sheshnag is Garbhodaksha Vishnu. So from his navel, if you can see, there is a stem that comes of lotus, and Brahma is sitting on the top of the lotus. Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and the ocean is called Garbhodaka ocean. So half, almost little less than half is what I mean. The shell is filled with water. That is called Garbhodaka ocean. And then Vishnu again expands himself into Shirodaksha Vishnu. So here Shirodaksha Vishnu is very small. You can see Durga Ma at the top right of this eggshell. Just besides to her, to our left side, there is this picture of Shirodaksha Vishnu. So you can also see to his left, to our left again, there is Shiva and Brahma. So these are the Guna Avtaras also. They are also called as the Guna Avtaras. These three together are called Guna Avtaras. So they are the predominating deities of each Guna. So any questions? Mahavishnu, we now understood, is basically he exhales out eggs, and Garbhodaksha Vishnu, it is said that the materials that are required, raw materials, are within his body that are kind of used by then Brahma to create different universes. So he provides the raw material to Brahma, you can say, in one sense. And Shirodaksha Vishnu is basically Paramatma and is in each atom, at the center of each atom. Any questions? Any doubts? Is this clear? These are Purusha Avtaras. Jay.
So basically 3 Purusha Avtaras.
Yes,
right?
Mataji. 3 Purusha Avtaras.
Vishnu, Shirodaksha Vishnu, and Garbhodaksha Vishnu.
Yes, Mataji. Yes.
Very good.
Very good. Thank you. Yeah, Kamal Prabhu, can you now continue? So now we have seen the Purusha avatars. Now we'll see about the 22 incarnations.
Yeah, okay. First of all, the beginning of the creation, there were the four unmarried sons of Brahma, the Kumaras, who, being situated in a vow of celibacy, underwent severe austerities for realization of absolute truth. The supreme enjoyer of all sacrifices accepted the incarnation of a boar, the second incarnation, and for the welfare of the earth, he lifted the earth from the nether regions of the universe. In the millennium of the rishis, the personality rishis, the personality of God had accepted the third empowered incarnation in the form of the Devarshi Narada, who is a great sage among the demigods. He collected expositions of the Vedas which deal with devotional service and which inspires non-creative action. In the fourth incarnation, the Lord became Nar and Narayan and twin sons of the wife of King Dharma. Thus, he undertook severe and exemplary penances to control the senses.
Very well. Prabhu, any idea why Krishna would have taken the incarnation of boar to just take out the planet out of whatever it is? Any idea, Prabhu? Why boar? I mean,
My,
he could have taken any other any incarnation. Why? I mean, we consider boar as little filthy, right? So,
hmm,
any thoughts, Prabhu? Any guesses? Anyone else would like to share? Yeah, Prabhu, you're saying
no
something.
idea, Prabhu, but I was thinking like boar is still one of the strongest of the animals. But yeah, I mean, in our now currently it is considered as the filthiest one. But I mean, when you see the in the jungle, boar is one of the strongest ones. I mean, one of these really strongest ones. You
Okay.
cannot fight a boar out of it. Even the tigers generally will never attack a boar from the front. So, I mean, this is what I heard. But yeah, I don't know.
Very
To be
well.
precise, I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, good reason, Prabhu. Yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, very well, Prabhu. Hey, Mamta Mataji, you had unmuted. You wanted to share something?
Yeah, Prabhu, because Mother Earth fall down in Garbhodaksha. So he, I mean, yeah, I mean, you rightly said he could have taken by hand, but he took Mother Earth on his this trunk, or what should I say? I don't know,
Tusk.
tusk, yeah, and that was the another form of the Lord, where he was looking beautiful. But your question still remains same. He could
He could have taken
taken
the
it
form
out
of an elephant,
from
Mataji. He can still use the
out
tusk.
by hand. उनके लिए उंगली काफी थी. Yes, उनके लिए वो finger ही काफी था, एक नाखून ही काफी था. He could have taken Mother Earth out. Um, Probably the reason behind, so that in coming time, one should not take any. I mean, one should not, or this particular animal should not be degraded or
Prabhuji, I think
discriminated
this animal was
just to
not
be
created
also
that time. This
remembered.
was the first
And
time it
Lord
was
is
created.
just trying to say.
Sorry, Richa. I think Mamta Mataji was speaking. She got disconnected in between. Her
Okay,
voice
okay.
was
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Am
Krishna, Hare
I
Krishna.
am I audible?
Yeah, Mataji, which may we lost you. So I think we thought that you have finished.
Okay, okay. Yeah, Prabhu. So I was just telling. So Lord has taken this particular animal form because he wanted to, he doesn't want to discriminate between the animal or any form of the Lord. So I think this could be
Okay,
one of the
interesting.
major reasons.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. Jay. Any yeah, Richa, sorry, you're saying something?
Yeah, I as far as I recollect, that Demon counted all the names of the animals and persons, but he forgot to count this particular animal. That's why he took the like he prayed to Lord Brahma that all these animals and all these humans should not be able to kill me.
Oh, is it? I am not aware of it. Hiranyaksh. There are
Mm.
8.4 million species. So
So he
counted
he names of all.
8.4 minus 1.
Yeah, so he forgot to add this name. So that's
Okay,
why.
not quite sure. ये कहाँ पे है? I mean, you heard it somewhere or you read it somewhere?
Yeah, I heard it.
Okay. I never heard about it, but yeah, interesting. I mean, interesting to know. So the reason what Acharya says, I mean, everyone has good reasoning, interesting points. So what Acharya says, because the earth was the Hiranyaksha had dropped earth in the filthy area, and which are in the Netherlands, the lower filthy area. So boar is supposed to be animal who plays around in filthy places. So Krishna is dramatic. So he always does everything in a dramatic way. So that is why he took the form of a boar, so that he could enter that filthy area and then he can come out. So that was the reason why he took the form of a boar. Now, for example, in Narsimha, when Hiranyakashipu had taken boon, there may be many other ways where probably he could have become a bamboo stick and fall on his head, and then he would have killed him. That is quite possible. Krishna can do anything, but then that would not be dramatic. Like, we wouldn't have enjoyed it, or we wouldn't have relished that pastime of Narsimha. But now when we see half lion, half human, that form is really fearful, and we really relish that form. So similarly, he took the form of a boar because devotees can relish that, and because the earth was in filthy area. So but having said that, he was not looking filthy. So he was in a white form, very bright. He was is referred to as a Shweta Varaha. So this kalpa is also called a Shweta Varaha kalpa, wherein the form was taken of a white boar. There is other in the other Varaha, in the other kalpas, the red boar is being taken. So that is a Rakta Varaha kalpa. So if I recollect properly, out of 100 years of Brahma, the first 50 years, Rakta Varaha took incarnate. He was incarnate Rakta in the form of a red boar. In the next 50, which is right now, we are on the 51st year of Brahma, 51st year, first day, white color form of Varaha was descended. So that is Shweta Varaha. So that is the reason that Acharyas usually mention for why he took the form of a boar. Jay, but good to know some interesting answers.
Prabhuji, what was the first incarnation?
Rakta Varaha, in the form of not first incarnation, in the first half of Brahma's 100 years.
Okay.
We won't
Here
call
it
it
is
first.
mentioned that the second incarnation. So what is the first incarnation? That the
Okay.
fish?
No. Here, this don't go by this our Dasha Avatar. So here, first and second incarnation is basically we are talking about in Bhagavatam, the 22 incarnations, which is number 1, which is number 2. So here the 4 Kumaras, if you see in the beginning of the creation, there were 4 unmarried sons of Brahmas, the Kumaras. So they are the first of what 22 list that would be talking about. They are not the very first incarnation that Krishna took, because it all goes in cycle. So
Okay.
there is when you see a circle, there is no start and no end, right? So similarly, this is a cyclic thing which has no beginning, no end. So technically, there is no first incarnation, there is no last incarnation, but yes, there is a fountainhead of all these incarnations, which is Krishna.
Okay.
So there was no time when Matsya Avatar was not there. There was no time when Varaha Avatar was not there. There was no time when Narsimha Avatar was not there. Even now, at this point of time, they are all residing in their respective planets in Vaikunta. So they are still there. And in some universe, they may be still performing some Leela. So right now, while we are talking, Narsimha must have broken some pillar, or he must have come from some other place. Srila Jiva Goswami, he narrates one instance wherein Narsimha came from the Shivlinga and he killed one devotee of Shiva who was about to kill the who was about to kill one Vaishnava. And this Vaishnava was actually praying for Narsimha to protect him. So he can come through anything, any medium. In Shiva Puran, it is mentioned that it came like a lightning bolt and he landed on this planet, and then there was a fight between Narsimha and Hiranyakashipu. So different kalpas, kalpa means a day of Brahma. So different kalpas, a day of Brahma is 1000 Mahayugas, and one Mahayuga is 4 yugas, this cycle of yugas. So he can come in any form. Krishna can come in any form. Sometimes this form, sometimes in this material universe, he appears only once and he remains throughout. Like for example, 4 Kumaras. So 4 Kumaras were manifested once, and they would be there till the end of this universe. Does that help, Richa?
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Okay, Jay. So in the millennium of the rishis, then we have Naranarayana, and Naranarayana, we have an interesting pastime. I do not recollect the name of the demon. It should be Shada Kavach or something. So that was Karna's previous birth. I read it in some ISKCON website. So Karna, in his previous birth, he had 100 Kavach. And we know that Karna had 1 Kavach, right? Here. So he had 100 Kavach. And he that in that Shad Kavach or whatever name he may have. So he was a devotee of sun god, and that is where he got this boon. And the boon was, if someone destroys this kavach, the person would die. Even if someone destroys 1 kavach, while destroying that kavach, the person who is fighting with him, who is destroying the kavach, would also die. So there is where Nar Narayan came and they fought with this particular demon. So how they did was, they had something called as a mantra which could make someone alive after death. So Nar, and to attain that mantra, someone has to meditate for 100 years. So let's say Nar and Narayan are fighting. So first Nar, let's say Nar is going and fighting with this particular demon. So Narayan would meditate for this 100 years while Nar was fighting. And then he would obtain this mantra. And by the time he obtained this mantra, Nar would break one of the, kavach of this particular demon. And as soon as breaks it, Nar would basically kind of die. I mean, the pastime, Nar Narayan, they are Lord's incarnation, they won't die, but in this pastime, they kind of die. And then Narayan would use this mantra to bring back Nar, he would make Nara alive. And then Nar would sit for 100 years, while Narayan would go and fight for this 100 years. And by the end of the 100 years, would break another kavach. And then Nar would gain this mantra. He would then make Narayan alive, and then he would fight. Then Narayan would do. So they were like they were going round ribbon, and they were basically breaking one kavach of Karna, or the previous birth of Karna, and then by doing that, on the 99th, when they broke the 90th one, then this particular demon became little scared. Now he understood. Bhai, ye to, they are having some master plan. I mean, at the end of the day, Bhagwan hi hota. So whatever rule they may apply, so they play around with it so that they don't violate the boon that are given by the other devatas and all. Like Brahma, when he gave boon to Hiranyakashipu, Krishna would have just came and he would have slapped and killed Narsimhadev. Clicked Hiranyakashipu. But then because Brahma had given that word, and in order to honor that word given by his devotee, he had to play around with it. So this is how it happens. And then on the 99th, when the 99th was broken, the last one left, he then ran and took shelter of Suryadev, and then he told Suryadev so and so, and I please protect me. And being a devata, they felt little compassionate, and he gave him boon that this kavach will carry on with you to your next janma. And then next janma, when he came as Karna, he had this kavach still with him. So if Arjuna would have broken the kavach, Arjuna would have been killed. But Indra knew this, and that is where Indra, he disguised as a Brahman and then took this kavach kundal from Karna. So this is the pastime of Narayana. Very, very wonderful pastime. So complicated plans this Lord does to basically to attract our attention rather than to kill demon. It is to attract our attention. It looks very fascinating, right, when we hear all these pastimes. Jay, any questions? Anyone wants to add something? Else we can move on to the next list of incarnations. Okay.
So Prabhu, it just, I mean, for my understanding, what I understood is just a pastime, you know,
It is just a
how
pastime.
Lord is performing, and
Yes.
you know, for us to listen and
Relish it, yeah.
we all can do and enjoy
Very
and
true.
relish.
See, Mataji,
So
Ram.
probably, as you mentioned, that at
Please go
this
ahead,
point
Ram.
in time also, probably some incarnation Lord may have, probably he's taking, and on some other universe something else is going on, right?
Yes.
So वो भी हो सकता है कि there are more and more incarnations Lord is taking, and he's protecting of his devotee or something, right?
True, Mataji. Different
So it's like
incarnations. And Narsimha, Varaha, Matsya, they are all eternal incarnations, Mataji. So they have also appeared in some other universe right now. So as we talk, they must have appeared in some other universe and doing the pastime in some other way here and there. So that is very much possible, Mataji.
okay, Prabhu. Okay, Hari Bol.
Okay. So these incarnations are not just one time. जैसे मतलब नरसिंह आके चले गए. It is not that चले गए. He is always there. He is eternal. He is always there. There was no time that Narsimhadev did not exist. He was always there in the Vaikuntha planet, in his own planet abode. But then he does this pastime so that we can relish it, we can enjoy it, our mind gets attracted to Krishna. See, if Rama says, Ravana, I could have just walked out of the heart of Ravana and Ravana would have been killed. I mean, he is living in everyone's side, Paramatma, right? He exists, done. I mean, there is no drama, everything required for to kill Ravana or any demon. But he does that so that, but when we listen now to Ramayana, we get so much mesmerized, we get so much attracted to the form of Krishna. We get our love for Krishna, bhakti for Krishna becomes it starts what you say manifesting, right? So this is that is why Krishna does this lila. So if you had just heard Krishna, the Ravana was doing nuisance and Krishna just walked out and Ravana did, I mean, we would have felt like, kya, matlab, nothing interesting, it is not attracting our mind. So Krishna knows all this, and because he desperately wants us back to Godhead, he's performing all this pastime just for us and nothing else. ये विनाशाचा दुष्कृतम and धर्म संस्था is all external reasons. उनको धर्म संस्था करने के लिए खुद आने की जरूरत नहीं. Prabhupada has come, different acharyas have come, Madhavacharya, these all acharyas have come. He does not need to come down to establish religion. And to kill demons, Lord Shiva is there. He can empower anyone to do that. So even he does not need to come there. He can just think and the demon will die. So that is all drama is not actually required. But he does this, all this natya, he does it only and only to attract our mind. So even Narsimhadev, he is now manifested in some other universe just to attract the mind of the people in that universe. So their Bhagavatam would contain this particular pastime, probably. We do not know. And then people would be attracted to it. And even our Bhagavatam, which contains, it does not necessarily be the pastime of this universe only. It can also mention something outside this universe. Bhagavatam or any Puranas we may talking about. It can be anything. It can be other universe. It can be other kalpas. It can be anything. So even here we have seen two Matsya incarnations that has happened. In Bhagavatam we'll see two Matsya incarnations. So these have happened in different kalpas. Doesn't matter. Krishna takes birth every kalpa. Rama comes every kalpa. So they are kalpa incarnations as well. They are also called kalpa incarnations. Is that helpful, Mataji?
Yeah, Prabhu.
Hari Bol, Mataji. Rohit, would you like to take this slide?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
The fifth incarnation, named Lord Kapila, is foremost among perfected beings. He gave an exposition of the creative elements and metaphysics to Ashuri Brahmana. For in course of time, this knowledge has been lost. 10. The sixth incarnation of the Purushua was the son of the sage Atri. He was born from the womb of Anushya, who prayed for an incarnation. He spoke on the subject of transcendence to Alarka, Prahlada, and others, Yadu, Hayaha, etc. The seventh incarnation was Yagna, the son of Prajapati, Rishi, and his wife Akuti. He controlled the period during the change of the Syavam Bhuma Manu.
and was assisted by demigods such as his son Yama 12. The eighth incarnation was King Rashaba, son of King Nabhi and his wife Miru Devi. In this incarnation, the Lord showed the path of perfection, which is followed by those who have fully controlled their senses and who are honored by all orders of life. 13. O Brahmanas, in the ninth incarnation, the Lord prayed for by sages, accepted the body of a king Prathu, who cultivated the land to yield various produce, and for that reason the earth was beautiful and attractive. 14. When there was a complete inundation after the period of Chusa Manu, and the whole world was deep within water, the Lord accepted the form of a fish and protected Vaivashvata Manu, keeping him up on a boat. 15. The 11th incarnation of the Lord took the form of a tortoise, was still served as a pivot for the Mandrashala hill, which was being used as a churning rod by the theist and the atheist of the universe. 16th. In the 12th incarnation, the Lord appeared as Dhanvantari, and in the 13th, he allured the atheist by the charming beauty of a woman and gave nectar to the demigods to drink. 17. In the 14th incarnation, the Lord appeared as Nasimha and bifurcated the strong body of the atheist Hiranyakashipu with his nails, just as a carpenter pierced Cain. 18. In the 15th incarnation, the Lord assumed the form of a dove, Brahmana, Vamana, and visited the arena of sacrifice arranged by Maharaja Bali. Although at heart he was willing to regain the kingdom of the three planetary system, he simply asked for a donation of 3 steps of land.
Very
19.
good, very good.
Very
Rohit,
good.
the 11th verse, the 6th incarnation which is mentioned here. So any idea whose this incarnation is?
No.
Anyone else would like to take a guess? What incarnation are we talking about here? 11th verse, the 6th incarnation of Purusha was the son of Sage Atri, and he was born from the womb of Anusuya. Anyone? Kamal Prabhu, Satish Prabhu? Yeah, Mamta Mataji, you want to?
प्रभु याद आया कि कल ही अनुसुईया की बातें हो रही थी और अब मैं भूल गई कितनी मंद बुद्धि है।
अरे नहीं, वहां पे तो लेकिन आगे कुछ बात नहीं किया था, सिर्फ इतना ही किया था।
हाँ, लेकिन हाँ अनुसुईया तक ही बात हुई थी बस।
अरे
मैं कलेक्ट पता नहीं, याद नहीं आ रहा प्रभु।
So this is about Dattatreya. We know Dattatreya, like we have heard about him, right? He's like popularly worshipped. Guru Charitra, I think it is called Guru Charitra, if I'm not wrong. That is a book that is being written for him. So Dattatreya is this incarnation who came from the womb of Anusuya, and father was Atri.
Actually, Prabhu, for Dattatreya, my knowledge is zero. I have just heard the name. That's all. So if we will get I will get the chance, I will definitely go through and I will.
Yes. So these all incarnations, there are further more information given in the coming chapter. So we will anyways have a look at them. But yeah, he's more popular in the near Maharashtra and those areas. He's little popular over there. Maharashtra, Hyderabad. So Dattatreya is little popular over there. So okay. So anything else? Yeah. On the Matsya Avtara, which is Dhanvantari, we know, Narasimha, which is 15th verse. So when there was a complete inundation, so Chakshusha Manu, so Vaivasvata Manu is our Manu. So right now we are in the time of Vaivasvata Manu, and in his previous birth he was I do not recollect his name. He was a king, very pious king, and then he was supposed to be the Manu in this next when his time would come. So just to protect him, he took the form of a fish and this was like because there was a flood of water everywhere, and that is why he took the form of fish. Again, same thing, to keep it a little dramatic, that would attract us, so he took the form of a ship. Again, he could have made all the people go to higher planets and then again brought them back, but he did it so that that would attract our attention. And when he did it, it was not just he took a form and he spoke the complete knowledge of Godhead to Vaivasvata Manu, and that is where he became more empowered and he took up the position of Manu. Mamta Mataji, you want to take this slide?
Yeah, Prabhu. Sure. In the 16th incarnation of the Godhead, the Lord, as Bhragupati, annihilated the administrative class Kshatriyas 21 times. Being angry with them because of their rebellion against the Brahmanas, the intelligent class, thereafter, in the 17th incarnation of Godhead, Shri Vyasadeva appeared in the womb of Satyavati through Prasaramuni, and he divided the one Veda into several branches and sub-branches. Seeing that the people in general were less intelligent, in the 18th incarnation, the Lord appeared as King Rama in order to perform some pleasing work for the demigods. He exhibited superhuman powers by controlling the Indian Ocean and then killing the atheist king Ravana, who was on the other side of the sea. In the 19th and 20th incarnation, the Lord advented himself as Lord Brahma, Balrama, and Lord Krishna in the family of Vrishni, the Yadu dynasty, and by so doing, he removed the burden of the world. Then, in the beginning of Kali Yuga, the Lord will appear as Lord Buddha, the son of Anjana, in the province of Gaya, just for the purpose of deluding those who are envious of the faithful theist. Thereafter, at the conjunction of two yugas, the Lord of the creation will take his birth as the Kalki incarnation and become the son of Vishnu, Yasa. At this time, almost all the rulers of the earth will have degenerated into plunderers. O Brahmanas, the incarnations of the Lord are innumerable like rivulets flowing from inexhaustible sources of water. At all these rishis, manus, demigods, and descendants of Manu, who are especially powerful, are portions of the Lord. This also includes the Prajapatis. All of the above mentioned incarnations are either plenary portion of the Lord, but Lord Shri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. All of them appear on planet whenever there is disturbance created by the atheist. The Lord incarnates to protect the theist. Whoever carefully recites the mysterious appearances of the Lord with devotion in the morning and in the evening gets relief from all miseries of life. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Thank you, Mataji. So here again, furthermore, incarnations of the Lord have been mentioned. So we have to understand when there are different categories of incarnation of Lord. Shaktavesha Avtara, Purusha Avtara, Guna Avtara. Then we have Manvantara Avtaras and so on. So there are like 6 categories of incarnation at a very high level. So when we see this, when we say the 27th verse, the rishis, manus, demigods who were very powerful, are planetary or planetary expansion that even includes Prajapati. So they are basically, most of them would fall under the Shaktavesha avatar. Shaktavesha means empowered soul. So Krishna has given that person some power to do some work on behalf of the Lord himself. So kind of delegation. So that also falls under the one category of incarnation. So the 4 Kumaras are kind of Shaktavesha. Narad Muni is a Shaktavesha. So we have to, so these are all mixed. What we see at 22 are all mixed, different incarnations and all. One interesting thing in one of the class, I don't recollect the name of the Prabhu, Parasar Prabhu or some I don't recollect. So he pointed this out. So if you see the sloka, he has the different incarnations are being mentioned, which is okay. But on this 23rd sloka, see what is mentioned over here. Bhagwan Arahat Baram. So the Bhagwan word is used over here. Rama Krishna iti bhuvo Bhagwan Arahat Baram. So Rama here is Balrama. So Balram is also known as Rama. So Bhagwan word is only and only used in this 23rd verse. Rest of the verses, there is Bhagwan word is not being used, which is something very interesting. And then for us, for Vaishnavas, this particular sloka is the key of all the sloka. Ete chamsa kala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. Indirari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. So whatever we spoke about, Ram maybe, or Purusha Avtaras, or Matsya Avtaras, or anything, those Avtaras are your portion or the portion of your portion, or whatever, as we can expand it whatever way Amshas it is. But you, Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. So he stresses this, Vyasdev, who has written all the Puranas. He is saying then Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. He does not say it for any other condition. I mean, the Bhagwan word is also used for couple of sages. It is sometimes also used for Shiva, sometimes used for Brahma, Bhagwan word. But in this context, it clearly, but that Brahma is like it is like a respect. It is not to declare that you are the God. It is just as a respect we say, Lord Ganesha, Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna. So it is as a designation that Bhagwan is used. But here, when we call out explicitly that Krishna, you are the actual Lord, you yourself are the Lord. He is again not saying that you are the incarnation of the Lord or you are something. He says Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. So that actually changes our age-old misconception that we all are holding. Basically, in India, we actually think that Krishna is one of the incarnations of Vishnu. But here, if you see the first 5 slokas, it shows Vishnu is the incarnation. In fact, it is the other way around. And ultimately, after listing all the incarnations, that 3 Purusha avatars plus the 22, it says Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. Any questions, any doubts, anything to add? Jay. So we have to understand this. Yeah, Mamta Mata, you want to say something?
Yeah, Prabhu, Hare Krishna. So actually, yeah, we've been always listening this Krishna, all incarnation, all forms, everything is from Krishna. Everything is within him. When he took incarnation as Krishna on the earth, he could have taken the other name. What we have seen, what we understood is कि जब नामकरण होता है भगवान का, तो वो नाम भी जो साधु देते हैं वो उनको कृष्णा के नाम से ही उनको देते हैं कि इसका नाम आप कृष्णा रखो. आई मीन आई डोंट नो, पता नहीं वो शायद अभी भागवतम में आएगा कि नहीं आएगा वो लीला, जहां पर उनको वो नाम दिया जाता है कि इनका नाम कृष्णा होना चाहिए. तो इज दिस समथिंग लाइक भगवान का इटर्नल नेम ऑलरेडी वो कृष्णा है, तो उन्होंने वो यहाँ पर भी लेके आए, or he got the name from here, Prabhu? I mean, I was just trying to connect this thing.
Yeah, good question, Mataji. So yes, so Mataji, these are his eternal name, and Krishna is the original name. So the original name is Krishna, And when they come over here, like in this case, in case of Krishna, Garga Muni did the Namkaran. So Krishna influences them to use this particular name only. So it is all Krishna's arrangement. There is nothing that can go beyond Krishna's arrangement. So he comes, he arranges that he gets this name again over here, and that continues. Radharani, Krishna, Balram, these are all eternal names. Rama, Narsimha. So these names, even there is Namkar and everything, it is given, Krishna arranges or influences to give that particular name. That is the Yog Maya Shakti of Krishna.
Hari bol Prabhu.
Hari
Bas. I was just trying to collecting this thing only.
Hari bol,
Thank
Hari bol, Hare Krishna. Jay, any other questions? Any other comments? We can move on to the next slide then. So here, how many incarnations are there in all? In Bhagavatam, it is 22 plus 3 Purusha Avtaras. But in the 26th verse, it is what it is said, O Brahmanas, the incarnation of Lord are innumerable. So Dasha Avatar, we usually think Krishna only, or Vishnu, whatever we may call, he only took 10 Avtaras. But that is not true. Innumerable Avtaras, innumerable. It is not possible to list down all the Avtaras, and we could even go through them. So he takes innumerable incarnations, and that keeps going. And it is like rivulets that keep flowing from the inexhaustible source of water. So like the ocean, how this rivers, there is this continuous flow of water. It never stops. That way from Krishna, there is continuous flow of incarnations. It does not stop. Whatever incarnation is required for whatever time, and which can best attract the mind of the devotees, he takes that form. Jay.
Prabhu, a question hai.
Yeah, Mataji.
We've been like listening. Lord Buddha is also incarnation of Lord Krishna. However, in Buddhism, we see there is no charity, there is no such other things, So, is that okay? Is it good to follow the Buddhism? Is it considered as good as like we are following the ISKCON? It is. I mean, should we taken it like on a equal ground?
So let's read Mataji, verse number 24. Okay, can you read that, Mataji, verse number 24?
Yeah. So 24. यहाँ से 23rd से शुरू होगा ना? Then.
Yes.
Okay. Then in the beginning of Kali Yuga, the Lord will appear as Lord Buddha. So ये तो already appear हो चुके हैं, right?
हाँ, ये future tense वो लिखा था 5000 years पहले.
हाँ.
तो वो भविष्यवाणी की है.
And the son of Anjana. In the province of Gaya के अंदर, okay? Just
now this is important, yeah. Just
province of Gaya is important, Prabhu?
No, अभी जो आप पढ़ने वाले हो.
Okay, just for the purpose of deluding those who are envious of the faithful theist.
Theist मतलब devotees. So जो demons है basically आसुरिक स्वभाव के हैं, उनको attract करने के लिए उन्होंने ये philosophy बनाया. So that they can also, animal sacrifice was one of the things to take these demons away from animal sacrifice by exploiting Vedas, and to basically allow, जब इनको सब attract किया ये philosophy से, then the devotees continued with their, otherwise they were like kind of harassing the devotees. So this philosophy, Buddha philosophy, is for what? Who is the audience? It is the people who are envious. So आसुरिक बुद्धि वाले लोगों के लिए this Buddhism philosophy is. I mean, whatever he had mentioned. So it is not for Vaishnavas. So they sense it cannot be considered at the same platform. Buddha is incarnation of Lord, undoubtedly, but the purpose are different every time. So which means Dattatreya, when he spoke, when you see Guru Charitra, if I'm not wrong, Guru Charitra of Dattatreya, it is not like what you say Bhagavatam. It is different. It is more on the Vedic lines, how you should behave, how you should do, what is your duty as a wife, what is your husband, how you should behave in the society. So again, the audience was different. So Lord does not, does not necessarily, what he speaks is always intended for the Vaishnavas. He does for the Vaishnavas, but what he speaks, depending upon the objective, he may try to target the Asuric Buddhi, like Adi Shankaracharya. He is Lord Shiva, right? Vaishnava Yata Shambho. He is the topmost devotee. But when he came as Adi Shankaracharya, he diluted. He said, there is no God. You are God. I am God. We all are God. But that was a duty. That was a seva that was given to Lord Shiva, so that he can slowly build some base before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes after a few years, so he can build that base. So that was the idea. So there is a purpose why that particular type of what you say uh, preaching is being done, but not all the preaching are same. Just because Lord Buddha said and he is the incarnation of Krishna doesn't mean that all Vaishnavas will follow. Was it intended for Vaishnavas? That is what we should try to understand. So what Krishna says is intended for Vaishnavas. What the devotees of the Lord say, that is intended for Vaishnavas. Does that help, Mataji?
Yeah, Prabhu. So as what I understand is like the other incarnation, like Lord Vishnu, sometime we see, especially in South, they only worship Vishnu, keeping in mind that the Vishnu is the supreme. So similarly, yeah, this is all as per the choice, as per the nature of the individual.
It is, yeah, it is time, place, circumstance that is being considered by the Lord while preaching, and the purpose basically. So here the purpose was to delude. Delude means to basically kind of fool, to delude the envious people. So that was the purpose. So his preaching was focused on deluding the envious people. It was not focused on what you say, um, uh, focused on increasing your bhakti for Krishna. That was not the purpose of this particular incarnation. So while we respect Lord Buddha as the incarnation of Lord, we do not follow his instructions, which are basically all targeted to a different set of audience.
Yeah, Prabhu, actually, those who are following actually Buddhism, खुद भी नहीं पता है अभी आप जितने भी ये अपने साउथ एशियन कंट्रीज हैं, सिंगापुर, मलेशिया, ये सब बुद्धिज्म को ही फॉलो करते हैं, बट सबसे ज्यादा यही लोग ये सी फूड और ये सब खाते हैं. I don't understand then what is actually they are following with. Yeah. Okay, Prabhu.
Jai Hari Bol. Thank you, Mataji. Any other comments? Any other questions? Jai. Richard, do you want to take up this slide?
Santosh Prabhu, I will take it up.
Yeah, okay. Or we can do one thing. If Monica Mata is there, let's give Monica Mata a chance then.
Okay, sure.
Monica Mataji, are you there? You are on mute, Monica Mataji. Can you read this slide, Mataji?
Yes, I will try. One second.
Yeah, sure.
Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3. The conception of the Virat, universal form of the Lord, as appearing in the material world, is imaginary. It is to enable the less intelligent and what is that word? Neophytes to adjust to the idea of the Lord's having form. But factually, the Lord has no material form. Should we read that in bracket 30?
No, that is a verse number. That is fine, Mataji. You can skip that.
Material form. Clouds and dust are carried by the air, but less intelligent person say that the sky is cloudy and the air is dirty. Similarly, they also implant material bodily conception on the spirit self. Beyond this gross conception of form is another subtle conception of form, which is without formal shape and is unseen, unheard, and unmanifest. The living being has his form beyond his subtly, otherwise he could not have repeated births. Whenever a person experiences by self-realization that both the gross and subtle bodies have nothing to do with the pure self, at that time he sees himself as well as the Lord. If the illusory energy subsides and the living entity becomes fully enriched with knowledge by the grace of the Lord, then he becomes at once enlightened with self-realization and thus becomes situated in his own glory. Thus, learned main describes the birth and activities of the unborn and inactive, which is undiscoverable even the Vedic literature. He is the Lord of the heart.
Very good. We will take a
The-
pause here, Mataji. We'll take a pause.
Yes.
So here, this is one section which talks about the Virat Rupa. So Virat is Virat, ekdam bada, huge form. So here it says that Bhagavatam says that one type of Virat, I understand there are multiple type of Virat. So in this one type of Virat Rupa, which is appearing in the material world, so wherein they see the planets and the mountains and the forest and everything as different parts of the body. So this Virat Rupa is for less intelligent people. That is what is mentioned over there. And neophytes means beginners. जिनको कुछ कच्चा बोलना कच्चा नींबू types. So it is basically to get an idea of how Lord is. जब हम लोग बताएंगे Lord is, I mean, his eyes are like sun and the moon, his hairs are like the forest, and so, the clouds are there, and so and so. So you can get a visualization of Lord, oh, how great the Lord is, how huge the Lord is. So these are for less intelligent people. But this is an imaginary form of the Lord that we have to understand. And in the next part, it is mentioned that when we understand that we are the soul and not the body, and that is where we can, this is when we realize that that is Atato Brahma Jika, that is the first part of your spiritual life. And then with the grace of Lord, we would be able to come out of this cycle of life and death. So one word here is interesting is the learned man. They describe the birth and activities of the unborn and inactive, which is undiscoverable even in the Vedic literature. So in the Vedic literature, Veda Guyani means it is not available in the Vedic literature. Guhya means confidential, secret. So in the Vedas, it is hidden from the Vedas. It is not discovered in the Vedas. So that is why we do not find anything about Krishna in the Vedas. Indirectly, maybe sometimes directly in very few verses. But again, those are debatable verses that can be used for some other purpose as well. So it is Veda Guyani. So it is kind of hidden from the Vedas. Why? Because Vedas are not meant for devotees. Vedas, when I say Vedas, I am actually referring to the 4 Vedas that we usually, not the 5th Veda, which are Puranas and Itihasas, but the 4 Vedas. So they are mainly intended for the people of average intelligence, so that they can rise above the other gunas and reach to the level of sattva guna. And when they reach to sattva guna, then for them it becomes easier to rise to Shuddha Sattvic state. Shuddha Sattvic means in a bhakti state, in a spiritual state. So when a person is tamasic, he cannot go to this Shuddha Sattvic or a spiritual state immediately. He has to get to Rajasic, then to Sattvic, and then to Shuddha Sattvic. If the devotees of the Lord give mercy, then whatever form they may be, whichever guna, the lowest of all the tamasic, but still they can go in Shuddha Sattvic. That is a different case, exceptional case. In generalized case, we have to rise to the higher modes, and then that is why we have, and that is what Vedas does. So we discussed it last time as well. So they kind of bring everyone to this particular level, and hence it is targeted for a different audience, and hence bhakti is not mentioned over there. About the pastimes of the Lord is not mentioned, because this audience will not be able to comprehend what are we talking about. What is this? Now we are talking about some heavenly planets, this and that, so many opulence, but then we speak about some covered boy. They would not be able to comprehend that. So that's why, okay, so this is your syllabus for you. Once you understand the syllabus, then you can go for bachelor's and postgraduate or whatever it is, PhD. So this is how it is. It has been kind of hidden in the Vedic literatures. Yes, Mataji, please continue.
Yes, Prabhuji. The Lord, whose activities are always spotless, is the master of the six senses and is fully omnipotent with six opulences. He creates the manifested universes, maintains them, and
Annihilates.
what is the word?
Annihilates mean destroy.
Annihilates them without being in the least affected. He is within every living being and is always independent. The foolish, with a poor fund of knowledge, cannot know the transcendental nature of the forms, names, and activities of the Lord, who is playing like an actor in a drama. Nor can they express such things neither in their speculations nor in their words. Only those who render his hand can know the creator of the universe in his fully glory, power, and transcendence. Only by making such inquiries in this world can one be successful and perfectly congruent for such inquiries. Invoke transcendental ecstatic love unto the personality of Godhead, who is the proprietor of all the universe, and guarantee 100% immunity from the dreadful
Repetition of birth and life.
birth and death.
Haribol, Haribol.
Thank you. Hari
Birth and
Bol.
death, sorry. Yeah. Jai. So here in this part, it is they are mentioning about the different. I mean, if you see, it is that it is mentioned Krishna basically annihilates, he creates everything, but he is least affected. So in Bhagavad Gita as well, there is a sloka which says that Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina masthani sarva bhutani na chaham teshva, what was it? Na chaham teshva avastitah. So it is like na chaham teshva. So mastani sarva bhutani. So I am in all living beings, but still they are not in me. So it is what Krishna is saying, that I am present everywhere, but I am unaffected. That is what he is trying to say. So if let's say this house is being destroyed or this body is destroyed, it affects me, right? But for Krishna, it is not the case. When the complete universe is being destroyed, devastated, annihilated, it doesn't affect Krishna. Krishna is untouched because though he is inside this universe, but he is staying aloof from this universe. He is not the part. He is basically within his Yogamaya energy, not the part of the Mahamaya energy. So people actually who are less intelligent, Bhagavatam says that they are unable to understand these activities of the Lord. And even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that who understands my life and my birth and activities, then they would never take birth again. So this is so we have to understand this from the pure devotee of the Lord. When we try to understand this different incarnations of the Lord, the pastimes of the Lord, the birth, the pastime of appearance, the birth of the Lord, the birth actually is the wrong word, but the birth of the Lord, then we may end up understanding Krishna. If we try to understand from common man, from probably right now we have this WhatsApp or TV series or whatever it may be. So we may end up having a wrong conception about the Lord. So we have to understand about Lord from the devotee of the Lord, and then we would really understand what exactly it means when we say that Krishna has taken birth. What is that? So here is one interesting sloka. So it says that who can come out of this like cycle of life and death? Mayaya, amayaya, santayaya, and anurvritya. So these are if you do bhakti in that as amayaya, which is without reservation. मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि सिर्फ प्रॉब्लम हुआ तो मैं भगवान के पास जाऊंगा. नो रिजर्वेशन. मैं सिर्फ अभी मेरा फैमिली को संभाल रहा हूँ. So I can only this type of bhakti. Some examples of what reservations are. So without reservation, I am your Krishna, just use me in your service. Amayaya. So that is how, if we do the what you say, service to Krishna. If we do it santayaya, without any gap, continuously, without we do not stop, it keeps going on. And then anuvritya. Anuvritya means favorably. That is very important. Usually we think we do something which is favorable for us rather than favorable for Krishna. So anuvritya means favorable for Krishna. So we have to do those activities which are favorable for Krishna. Krishna nu anukuleshna. So it is what which is anukul for Krishna, which is in the favor of Krishna, not in favor of mama anukulya. Not is not for my favor. Usually we see many people, we have what is Puja calls it, some shastra. I mean, basically English translation is customized culture or customized shastra. So what they do is anukul shastra or something, anukul shastra. So as per our comfort, we change the shastras and we do it favorably for what suits us. But this does not work. So we have to do favorably for what what is favorable for Krishna. We have to act what is favorable for Krishna. And when we do that, then we would be able to know Krishna, his pastimes, his birth, and his different activities in his full glory, power, and transcendence. Any questions? Anything to add on this slide? Jay. So last part, Richa, if Richa not there, Rohit, you can take this slide.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Satish Prabhu, I saw him in the office, so that's the reason I have not called his name. So I think he may be busy.
Can I continue?
Yeah, please, Rohit.
Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3. This Srimad Bhagavatam is the literary incarnation of God, and it is compiled by Srila Vasudeva, the incarnation of God. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people, and it is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Vasudeva delivered it to his son, who is the most respected among the self-realized. After expecting the cream of all Vedic literature and the stories of the universe, Sukadeva Goswami, the son of Vaishudeva, in his turn delivered the Bhagavatam to the great emperor Parikshit, who sat surrounded by sages on the bank of the Gangas, awaiting death without taking food and drink.
Yeah, we'll take a pause here, Rohit. One second, we'll take a pause. So just visualize in a better way. So what was mentioned in this verse is Vyasdev said to Sukadeva Goswami and Sukdev to Parikshit Maharaj. And then same Sukdev in the same assembly of Parikshit Maharaj, Suta Goswami was there, and then Suta Goswami said to Naimisharanya sages. So this is what we discussed initially. So just this is sometimes we tend to get confused with this Suta, Shuka, and all. So who said where? So this is something we have to again remember. Vyasdev said to Shuka, and Shuka said to Parikshit Maharaj and Suta Goswami. And then Parikshit Maharaj, 7 days, he left his body and he went back to Godhead. And Suta Goswami, then he went to Naimisharanya and then gave that essence to the sages of Naimisharanya, which was led by Shaunak Rishi. Yes, Rohit, please continue.
This Bhagavata Purana is as brilliant as the sun, and it has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied by religion, knowledge, etc. Persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of ignorance in the age of Kali shall get light from this Purana. O learned Brahmanas, when Sukadeva Goswami recited Bhagavatam there in the presence of Emperor Parikshit, I heard him with rapt attention, and thus, by his mercy, I learned the Bhagavatam from that great and powerful sage. Now, I shall try to make you hear the very same thing as I learned it from him, and as I have realized it.
Jai Haribol. Thanks, Rohit. So here few things that are very interesting is we'll come to the first part. Before that, what Suta Goswami says that he heard it from Shukdev. Okay, Shukdev. How did he hear it? He heard him with rapt attention. Unfortunately, in Kali Yuga, it is very difficult to hear with rapt attention. So we may get distracted. We may receive some WhatsApp message, or someone would come, grocery would come at the door, or something else would happen, some household work. So hearing with rapt attention is very, very, very necessary in Bhagavatam. And this is for me as well. I also failed to do that. Unfortunately, I'm also the part of this Kali Yuga, but yes. So we all have to try to listen with rapt attention. So when we do Bhagavatam, we have to allocate this 1.5 hours, whatever it may be, only for Krishna. So we should try to say ourselves, nothing, no nonsense, nothing. Like when we go to movie theaters, right? We turn off our switch mobile phones. I mean, we put it on silent and we just pay our attention to the movie, 3-hour, 2-hour movie, 3-hour movie. So similarly here, this is the topmost of all the movies, the drama that Krishna has, the Natya that Krishna has presented. So we have to listen with very rapt attention. This is very important, and very important for me, that I have to listen with very rapt attention. And then by the mercy of our acharyas, we can learn Bhagavatam. So what we are doing is we are listening to Bhagavatam. We are not learning Bhagavatam, but when we do with rapt attention, we will learn Bhagavatam. Second is from where Bhagavatam has to be, or from where this particular content is being taken. That is important. I mean, when we compare different Puranas, from where has it taken? Shuka is directly from the spiritual world, and we spoke about it last time, right? Is the personal parrot of Krishna, Radharani, and Radharani used to make him sit on her left hand and pamper him and ask him to say Krishna, Krishna, and he would repeat Krishna, Krishna. So he was very personal pet of Srimati Radharani. So at a very, very, very elevated position. So here we have to understand from where this particular content is coming. I mean, I'm talking to different Puranas. That also determines the type of audience this Purana is targeted to. This also determines in which guna this Purana. So 18 Puranas fall into 3 gunas: Satvik, Tamasic, Rajasic. We spoke about it, right? So these things basically decide from where did you speak, who is your intended audience, and what is the content, object of the content. So these things basically can help you understand, is this something for people who are devotees, is something for people in Satvik, something for people in Rajasic or Tamasic. And on basis, these Puranas are divided. So Puranas again are eternal. When Shiv Puran is in the category of Tamasic Puran, it does not mean that Shiv Puran is the lowest Puran. No, Shiv Puran, it is Shabda Praman. So it has to get that it is it is a respected Puran, but it is not targeted for Vaishnavas. It is targeted for people who are in the mode of ignorance. And that is why this Puran falls under the Tamasic Puran. But we have to understand, Tamasic Puran does not mean that this Puran is all nuisance. But unfortunately, many of these Purans, except a few, Bhagavatam is one of them, many of these Purans has kind of deteriorated over the period of time. But few like Bhagavatam, since many acharyas have mentioned commentary on that, it becomes easier for us to understand that yes, it is unadulterated. There isn't much difference between what it was there earlier, some 1,000 years back, and what it is there now. Because different acharyas have given their commentary on that. But for other Puranas, unfortunately, not all on the complete Puranas, we don't see commentary. Only very, very rare commentaries. And that is why people have manipulated those Puranas to suit their requirement. And it becomes, it becomes kind of deteriorated. It has become kind of deteriorated. So the idea here is, back to topic. So idea here is, Sutta is convincing them that I have heard with rapt attention, and I have heard from so and so powerful sage. And now I shall try to make you hear the very same thing as I learned from him, and realize it is not theory. Realize means Vigyan. Theory means Gyan. So Vigyan, he has realized that it is something he has experienced. It is not just when I say ki if you tell that a baby, don't put your finger into the electricity plug, you may get shock. It is a Gyan. Okay, fine. But sometimes the kid may still go and do it. But once they get a shock, they have become realized. They have realized it. Abhi usko Vigyan प्राप्त हुआ. He has realized. Now he knows what exactly my parents said. What do we mean by shock, right? So he is now sure, so that it is evident that what my parents said is true. So similarly, here Sutta Goswami is saying that I have I am repeating as it is, no deterioration, no my own theories, nothing, as it is from that powerful stage, as I've heard, and as I've realized it, which means this is not just a theory. Bhagavatam is actually Vigyan. It is realization of God. It is not just even realization of self, it is realization of God. So that's why Bhagavatam is very, very, very at a very top position. It is very auspicious, and it is the best of all the Puranas. We will read about it in the coming verses. It is the best of all the Puranas, and that is why we have to, and that is what it is mentioned, literally incarnation of the Lord. It is not just some book, it is a literary incarnation. So reading Bhagavatam with rapt attention and realizing it is what basically can take you back to Godhead. That is what acharyas say. And we have many pastimes like Gokan pastimes and all, where we just by reading, hearing to Bhagavatam, the ghost who is in tamasic mode, he directly got liberated, and people from Vaikunta came, Vishnu Dutas, and took him back again in Vaikunta Dham. But there are other people also in that assembly who also heard the same thing, but they were not taken because the mood of this ghost was different than the mood of the other people. They just heard, he listened, he understood, he studied Bhagavatam. He did it with rapt attention. So with this, we'll close the chapter 3. Yes, sorry, one more point. The answer to question number 6, whereas the religion taken shelter after Krishna is returned to his abode, is it has arisen just a departure. So where is the religion taken shelter? It has taken shelter in Bhagavad Puran. So that is the answer. So Bhagavad Puran, the religion has taken shelter in Bhagavad Puran. Very clearly, very crisp, no other Puran. And we have read in the previous chapter also, when you read Bhagavad Puran, there is no need to read any other Puran. It has been clearly mentioned. So which shows the supremacy of Bhagavatam. So this is not what I am trying to, what you speculate, or as people say, ISKCON is trying to say. It is all there in the Shastras. Shastras say that, and we are just following Shastras. So any questions, any comments before we move on to the next part? Jay. Yeah, Monica Mataji.
Sorry, Prabhuji, I'm disturbing.
No, Mataji.
आप थोड़ा बीच बीच में हिंदी में भी समझाइए, क्योंकि वो
Oh,
जो
okay.
आप हिंदी में समझाएंगे ना, वो परफेक्टली याद रहता है.
Okay, Mataji. I will try. I will do English, Hindi and English
Okay.
mix. Yes,
Okay.
Mataji, I will do that.
Yeah.
Jai.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. So this is just a tabular form of all the incarnations. I just kept it recorded. Probably we can take a minute, go through it. And yes, Yajna, what we spoke about, I forgot to mention, he took the post of Indra, the 12th incarnation he was talking about, the 12th number. He took the form of the 12th verse. He took the position of Indra, because during that time when Swayambhava Munu was about to leave, there was no soul eligible to take that post. And that is where Yajna took that, Lord as Yajna took the form of, took the post of Indra. So Lord takes any post. He can, we know about Brahma, he takes the post of Brahma when there is no eligible soul, but even he takes the role of Indra as well when there is no eligible soul to take that post. Lord Kapil also, one interesting point, there are two forms of, two personalities of Lord Kapila. One is Lord Kapila as the incarnation of Lord. The other is Kapila sage, who was people call it the imposter. He diluted the theory and he made some no god theory. So that is different Kapila. So we may get confused. Kapila he is also sometimes referred to as Kapila Dev. Even Lord Kapila is referred to as Kapila Dev. So we have to understand which Kapila we are referring to. If he talks about Krishna, centered the absolute truth, then is Lord Kapila. If he is saying no Krishna, no absolute truth, just Prakriti and all, then that is the imposter Kapila. I'll move on to the next slide. We'll also spend a minute here, basically just quickly go through it. And Dhanvantari also is one of the Dhanteras, which we celebrate in Diwali. He is usually confused. Usually not. He is mostly confused with Mother Lakshmi because it has the word Dhan. But this is not the case. It is called. It is because it was the appearance day of Dhanvantari, who was also given us Ayurveda, and who brought during the Samudra Manthan, who came out with the pot of nectar. So it is not, Dhanteras is not related to Lakshmi. There is Lakshmi Puja which is related to Lakshmi, but Dhanteras is for Dhanvantari. Almost everyone in India, they are confused with the Dhanteras because it has the word Dhan. So Lakshmi, that is the idea.
So Dhanteras is what for Sab Prabhu?
Appearance of Dhanvantari.
And
17th verse.
Dhanvantari is
Yeah.
for, I mean, what is the function? I mean, what should I say? The duty, like every incarnation has some duty
Yeah,
or
purpose. Yeah,
some
purpose.
function.
I just
Yeah.
mentioned that, Martina, that he came with a pot of nectar. He gave us Ayurveda. That was his role. Basically, he gave us Ayurveda, and
तो प्रभु ये धन्वंतरी से मतलब धन्वंतरी आयुर्वेदा से फिर ये धन पे कहाँ चला गया प्रभु?
क्योंकि धन वर्ड था माता जी, तो चला गया। अभी क्या कर
मटेरियल
सकते,
मतलब धन से जोड़ दिया।
धन दिखा माता जी, अभी खत्म, मैटर क्लोज। धन दिखा तो मैटर सो क्लोज।
अच्छा, तो फिर आयुर्वेदा में भी तो ये देयर वाज समथिंग, उनको भी तो वो किसी एक यू नो दे मस्ट बी हैविंग सम देवता और समथिंग, वो फिर कहाँ किसको अप्रोच कर रहे हैं? अगर हम आयुर्वेदा के ही प्रोस्पेक्ट से देखें तो देन वेयर टू अप्रोच? धन्वंतरी ओनली?
Yeah, Dhanvantari only. I think even Ashwini Kumar, the twin brothers, they are also in charge of medicine, if I'm not wrong. But again, it all comes from Dhanvantari. If you go to Ayurvedic, आप आयुर्वेदिक केस में जाओगे माता जी, in some, I mean, in India, I prefer Ayurveda. So I had been to couple of Ayurvedic doctors, and वहां पे मैंने देखा उनके यहाँ पे धन्वंतरी का उन्होंने डीटी रखा होता है, विष्णु का वैसा पॉट लेके आते हैं, वो नेक्टर का पॉट, अमृत का. So I was happy that at least, yeah, some people know that he is the father of Ayurveda medicine. At least in Ayurveda, I think for now they probably एक लाइनर रहेगा कहीं पे.
अच्छा, अभी तक तो यही था, नहीं तो धन्वंतरी मतलब धन के देवता.
नहीं, धन के देवता नहीं.
हरि बोल.
हरि बोल माता जी. So we will end our third chapter here. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनीति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात देशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विष नमः नमो ब्रह्मण्याय देवाय गो ब्राह्मण हिताय च जगद्दिताय कृष्णाय गोविंदाय नमो नमः. Anyone would like to go prasadam? Go for the prasadam prayers. Yeah, Monica Mataji.
Can I read all this?
Yeah, Mataji, please. You can read only the sloka. You can skip the translation. हम लोग translation काफी पढ़ ली है, तो अभी हम लोग सिर्फ श्लोका पे थोड़ा फोकस करेंगे.
महाप्रसादे गोविंदे नाम ब्राह्मणी वैष्णवे स्वल्प पुण्यवतां राजन् विश्वासो नैव जायते शरीराभ्युदया जाल ज्योतेन्द्रियता हे काल जीवे फले विषय सागोरे सारामध्ये जीवा अति लोभो माये सुधर्मती ताके जेता कठिन संसारे. कृष्णा बोरो दोय माय कोरी बारे जीवा जाए स्वप्रसाद अन्ना दिलो बाय से अन्नामृता पाओ राधा कृष्ण गुण गाओ प्रेमे दाखो चैतन्य निताय. हरे कृष्णा.
हरि बोल. Thank you, Mataji. Mamta Mataji, do you want to take Narsimha Arti? You're on mute, Mataji. I don't know, Satish Prabhu, you can.
Yes, Prabhuji, I will take it.
Okay, Hari Bol Prabhu.
जय नरसिंह श्री नरसिंह नमस्ते नरसिंहाय प्रह्लाद लाददायिने हिरण्यकशिपूर्वशः शिलाटङ्का नखालाये इतो नरसिंह परतो नरसिंह यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंह बहे नरसिंहो हृदये नरसिंहो नरसिंह आदिं शरणं प्रपदे तव कर कमलवरे नाथा अद्भुत शृंग दालिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृङ्गा केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय प्रह्लाद महाराज जय प्रह्लाद महाराज प्रह्लाद महाराज जय प्रह्लाद महाराज जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद नरसिंह भगवान की जय प्रह्लाद महाराज की जय हरे कृष्ण
Hari
प्रभु।
Bol, Hari Bol. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much.